What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you. Another rapid reaction movie review today. It's probably going to be brief, but I want to talk to you about an independent drama film I just saw last night called North Hollywood. All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I just saw this movie called North Hollywood last night. I rented it on demand. It sounded somewhat intriguing to me, and then I Googled the cast, and I was like, wait a second, let's check this out. Let's talk about North Hollywood. A kid must decide between choosing the future his father wants or following his dream of becoming a pro skater. That is the synopsis on Letterboxd for North Hollywood. It is a 2021 film directed by a first-time director, I believe, Mikey Alfred. It stars a cavalcade of characters. Some are names and some are predominantly unknowns. It stars Ryder McLaughlin as the lead character, Michael. The only other film that I know McLaughlin from is mid-90s, which I'll come back to that in a second because that's of importance in my review of this movie. Now, some of the names you might recognize in this film, Miranda Cosgrove pops up here out of nowhere, but I haven't seen her, at least to my knowledge, really in any film projects, but she was actually really good in this, and she plays his love interest, Rachel, in the film. You also see Vince Vaughn as Michael's father in the film. He's just referred to as Pops through most of the movie. He's a construction worker who just wants what's best for his son, and he really killed this role, guys. It was just enough of that Vince Vaughn humor that we get and that we're familiar with from really any movie you want to name. Fred Claus, Wedding Crashers, like that type of kind of slapstick humor. Just enough of that mixed in. And then we got that kind of overbearing father part where it was like almost like you were scared of him a little bit. If you could think back to movies that he's done somewhat recently, like Brawl and Cell Block 99 and Dragged Across Concrete, where he's still a very charismatic character, but you're just kind of scared of him a little bit. He mixes in a little bit of that too, along with this kind of like dad joke type humor in this film. And he was pretty close to being, if not almost certainly, my favorite part of this movie, at least from a performance standpoint. A lot of the other actors in the film just don't have experience acting. But with that being said, I think that goes a long way for North Hollywood because you really get that authentic feel. Like you feel like it's not a movie in certain scenes and in certain scenarios. You feel like you're actually watching these skateboarding buddies interact with each other. As you guys know in my rapid review, I'm not going to give away any plot spoilers, so I don't want to discuss the plot too specifically. But Michael's going through this struggle. He's graduating high school. His dad, portrayed by Vince Vaughn, wants him to go to college. He wants him to make his way in the world. And as a lot of us fathers think, we think that college is that avenue to get to where you need to be in life. Whether or not that's true depends on your school of thought, but that's definitely Pops, Vince Vaughn's school of thought in this film. Michael, however, has a knack for skateboarding. He's one of the better skateboarders in NoHo, North Hollywood, and he's known for that amongst his group of friends and people that he's met through the years at the skate park, through his years of high school. And he kind of befriends these pro skaters in the film. There's a lot of skateboarding pro skaters cameos in this film. I'm not in the pro skater world outside of everyone else who knows who Tony Hawk is, so I'm not really intimate with that, but I think that's a really cool element, again, that adds to the authenticity of this movie. It really kind of gives it street cred, so to speak, which I really like. Mid-90s, I mentioned earlier. This is a film that was very similar to mid-90s, just taking place in modern day as opposed to the 1990s. Sonny Sulchik, who is the main star of mid-90s, the young kid who's trying to become a skateboarder himself back in the 90s, has a cameo in this movie portraying a skater. I thought that was really cool too, so they kind of know the movies that they're kind of borrowing from a little bit. And I did also see in the credits there's a lot of similar people involved in the production of both of those films as well. This movie had that coming-of-age feel. It was a coming-of-age story about dudes that have gone through high school together, and their link is skateboarding, and they're doing it in North Hollywood. You know, Michael is our central character, and I thought the performance was really good. I really did. I mean, he's really a tortured guy because he just wants to skate. That's what he wants to do. That's his dream. You know, that's his dream in life. he meets this girl in Miranda Cosgrove who he starts to have feelings for, and they start to gain a relationship, and that kind of creeps its way into him losing focus a little bit on skateboarding. And then he has these really kind of beautiful friendships with two main characters. His black friend, which, by the way, I'm not sure why they named him Adolf, but his black friend's name is Adolf in the film. And his relationship with Adolf, especially when we get to the last act of the movie, I thought was very sweet. It was a very sensitive story where they knew they were going to have to go separate ways. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but Michael gets to kind of the end of this chapter, and he knows what he needs to do at the end of this movie. And then Adolf realizes he's not going to be able to do what he wants to do. So they have to kind of know what's best for each other and kind of quote unquote move on, which is a very touching development in the film after seeing this kind of quirky friendship that we got to witness for 90 minutes throughout the movie. At the end of the day, I think North Hollywood is a great film if you're into independent cinema. You know, seeing actors like Vince Vaughn pop up and Miranda Cosgrove, who I'm fond of from iCarly, seeing them pop up was a nice surprise. But even without them, this is a very real feel type movie. Like it has that authenticity that I mentioned before, where you feel like you're watching home movies, perhaps, that these friends shot of each other, especially during the skateboarding segments. I mean, you can tell these dudes, like I said, they're not actors first. I feel like they're skateboarders first. And you can kind of tell because they're really good at what they're doing. There's not a lot of stunt doubling going on here. It's just them doing their skating at the skate park, so on and so forth. I mentioned in my Letterboxd review that it's a little bit like Lady Bird in that way. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of Lady Bird, a little bit of Superbad, and a little bit of mid-90s. You kind of put all that together in a little bit of a hodgepodge. You get kind of the touching, heartfelt moments that I mentioned between the friends. You get, obviously, the skateboarding, so you get to see that. If you're into skating, if you like that, you'll enjoy that aspect as well. And then you get the humor. I mean, there's dick jokes being thrown around. These friends are, you know, insulting each other in funny, comedic ways that we would get in a movie like Superbad in that way. And then, of course, Superbad is also a coming-of-age tale. But instead of this movie being about somebody getting laid, it's about their love of skateboarding. I think you guys should check out North Hollywood. I really like this movie. It's one of the better movies I've actually seen this year. And Vince Vaughn just elevated it for me even more. So there, you see my rating, my Letterboxd as well. 4 stars for North Hollywood, 4 out of 5. Please follow me over there on Letterboxd. All the information is down below for that as well. Have you seen North Hollywood? It is on demand. Make sure you rent it if you have not. If you have seen it, what did you think? Let me know down in the comments below. And please subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out. I'll see you guys next time in the garage.